Hi, thank you for clicking on this video. I'm Rachel Miller, and I'm joined now with John Kaplan. Hi, John.
Rachel, how are you?
Good, good. So today we are going to be talking about some of the content that is on our new platform, Ascender. Some of you are probably asking yourself, what is Ascender? I've seen an ad here. I've seen a post. Maybe you're wondering what it is, who it's for. It is our new online subscription platform. It's meant just for individual salespeople, no matter the company. And it's also has a solution for small teams. We are publishing content almost every day on the platform. We are cranking it out. So today I wanted to bring John on here and talk about a few of the things we've been writing and chatting about on the platform to give those of you out there a taste of what our subscribers have access to. So you game for it, John?
I'm ready.
All right,
I'm ready.
So first up, John, I know you're doing motivational videos every Monday on the Ascender platform. This past week, we published a video on the Miracle Cloud. Talk a little bit about what that is and why it's an important concept for salespeople to get their heads around.
Yeah, I think the Miracle Cloud is an important concept, and it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek. It's it is what happens when we are not prepared. What happens when we don't own the fundamentals? And what happens when we don't execute? We find ourselves in the Miracle Cloud. And what I like about this concept is you can think about if you're working on an opportunity and you're like, I don't have access to the economic buyer, but I'm going to continue working on this opportunity, or I don't have a champion, and I'm going to continue to work on this opportunity, utilize my resources, utilize my company resources, and then a miracle happens. And so if you find, that's right, if you find yourself in a position where you're waiting for a miracle to happen, there's your sign. And but the reason why I feel so strongly about this is like, what I see people doing is they bring other people into the Miracle Cloud. And so, for example, when I was leading a sales organization and I would bring my manager into a situation, and if I wasn't prepared, or if I had cut corners, or, you know, maybe if you just called the customer, maybe you could do something. If you're anywhere in that environment, you should have this saying, and I would write it down and post it on your, wall somewhere. And then a miracle happens. So you don't want to be in the Miracle Cloud. And I believe, Rachel, it's really all about being prepared. And what I love about what you guys are doing in Ascender and in the platform, it's all about preparation. It's all about mastery of very specific skill sets and really giving yourself a chance to be the very, very best that you can be, and be amongst a community of people to be the very best that you can be. And I think about, like, in this Miracle Cloud, have you seen these things on TikTok and Instagram or what have you? There's like people working out or something, and then there's this thing in the background that says nobody's coming. Nobody's coming. And I don't know if you've seen that, but it really resonates for me. And I think about it, nobody's coming, meaning nobody's going to save you in the Miracle Cloud. It's time to bet on yourself and be prepared. And that's what I mean by the Miracle Cloud. Nobody's coming. Nobody's coming.
Ain't that the truth? So, right, motivational videos every Monday you're doing, John. But also in our community, I wanted to bring up a discussion. I know you're familiar with it. There was a great discussion on how you deal with a prospect who indicates that they're favoring a competitor. What do you do without just like showing up and throwing up about how much better you are? Wait, what about me? What about me? How do you respond in a way that actually improves your position?
Yeah, I mean, that example, what I thought was a really good one, because this person was telling us, telling the community in Ascender, which is really cool because they can go out to the community and say, hey, I'm having this problem. And so I read it. It's like, hey, I'm having this problem. And I answered it. And it was a really fun exchange with this individual. But the point was, I think that I thought that I had a champion, but it looks like my competitor has a specific feature that is they seem to be leaning towards, and now this person's going cold. My communication's going cold. And I thought, wow, there's so much to unpack there. But let me just give you just a little spirit around it. First of all, I thought that the person, this is the opposite of the miracle cloud. This is like this person waking up and saying nobody's coming, and they realize that nobody's coming, and they're really owning where they are in their situation. But so I thought they were really smart to talk about that, supposed champion. And so we got into a little dialogue about how to re-engage this person. They went cold, and my feedback was, sorry, a little bit of a cold. My feedback was, don't be afraid to speak from the heart to this person, and basically reach out to them and say, hey, I think I might have lost you in the conversation because we're having trouble kind of getting back into communication, and own it and just say kind of like, that's my fault. Don't confuse style with content here. So don't worry about the style. Just think about the content, speaking from the heart, calling it out, and just reaching out to this person and say, what I want to do is I'd like to go back to the specific criteria that we were talking about. This person that I was interacting with on Ascender was telling me, okay, I think I'm losing because of this feature. And my response was, are there any other features? Why is that feature important? And really where I was going, Rachel, was the fundamentals behind owning the decision criteria and influencing it with your differentiation, but really implicating that decision criteria to business outcomes. And so probably what was happening was there was a story behind it. I think it was a user interface. That user interface for the competitor was more favorable. But was there anything else? What about your other technical differentiation? And so that's just the spirit around wherever you are, there you go. They woke up and said, nobody's coming. In this case, nobody's calling me back. Okay, wonderful. Do something about it. They went, they're purposefully going back to that champion and saying, hey, or potential champion, I think I lost you. Can we go back and talk about the things that were most important to you? And I'm sure there's going to be more stuff on there than the graphical user interface. If there's not, then go to work. You got work to do. Implicate those problems and challenges that wind up as technical criteria. Implicate them to business outcomes, because when you do that, you're going to expand the conversation. And let's just say worst case scenario, Rachel, this person isn't your champion. No problem. Keep going, because somebody cares about problems in this opportunity. You just have to find out who owns those problems. You have to find out how big of a problem that is. With big problems become big, big people are associated to big problems. Big dollars are associated to big problems. But, again, sorry for the long-winded on this, but I really, really gave this person a lot of credit, because they weren't living in the miracle cloud. They woke up and they said, nobody's coming, nobody's calling me back. And I just asked them to go back to the fundamentals. And I think they did a really, really good job on it.
Yeah, sometimes when we get in it, it's hard to like take a step back and say, hey, let's get back to basics. And that's some of the content that I'm publishing there. I just published an article on best practices for aligning to your buyer. There's no greater skill if you're selling. And we talked about problem solving.
Yeah. The problem solving sounds a little bit like a cliche, but I'm telling you, if you don't think of yourself as a problem solver, you're lost as a seller. It's a fundamental principle. We talk about seller deficit disorder all the time. And that seller deficit disorder really says, Rachel, it says most buyers, they don't believe that we understand their business or problem, and they don't believe that we listen to them. And that's been the same feedback in buyers, between buyers and sellers, that you've heard me say it's Egypt old. But I really want people to really kind of contemplate that, because when you show up, no matter what you do, you have to overcome that seller deficit disorder. And it has to start from an outside in mentality versus an inside out mentality. If you're a problem solver, you're an outside in mentality. If you are a product or a feature seller, please listen. If you're a product or a feature seller, you are an inside out mentality. Therefore, you're going to fall into the seller deficit disorder. Seller deficit disorder says the customer does not believe you understand their problems or challenges, and they don't believe you listen. You got to overcome that. The best way to overcome that is to have an outside in mentality, which really begins to ask great discovery questions, even, Rachel, if you know they got a problem. This is the dilemma that I had to learn as a young seller. I thought if they had a problem, let me just tell them about their problem. And then I learned what the data said. It said the more that I told them they had a problem, the more they would resist me. But the more I asked them great two-sided discovery questions, they would begin to realize their own answers and listen to their own answers. And there's an old saying that says, people rarely argue with their own conclusions. So your job is to get them to stand in their own moment of pain. Back to your original statement, if you don't think of yourself as a problem solver, as a pain solver, you're never going to get there. So again, I know there was a lot of a mouthful in there, but you're a problem solver. Identify problems and challenges, then map your solutions in a highly differentiated way to that problem, and you're going to have all the success in the world. And that's what you're teaching people on Ascender, which is awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we could sit here and talk about this stuff all day, but I know that people
I
watching
know
this.
you wanted this to be a quick clip, right?
Sorry, everyone.
Sorry about that.
But no, there's great tips. And I hope all of you will check out more on our platform. Ascender.co is our website. Check out the plans. We have a free trial. You can try it out for 7 days. We've got a couple of different plans out there, whether you're interested in content and community, or you really want the curriculum, you want negotiation classes, you want classes on better discovery, you want to get medic certified. We've got that on Ascender. We'd love to see you on there.
Yeah, Rachel, I think about when, I started out, and it doesn't matter. I'm not talking about like, when you start out, if it's young sellers or older sellers, whatever, just a great community of people from different walks of life, which I think is awesome. And I think about, back when I was an individual contributor, all the things that I did. I bought books, I bought tapes, I invested in myself like crazy. And it's one of the reasons why, Ascender was born, because we just wanted to give people an opportunity to go be amongst a community of believers and student of game, like all of the people in Ascender are, to go up your game with elite skills in an elite community. And it's a great way to just bet on yourself. And, it's a great way to be uncommon. People hear me talking about that all the time, Rachel, that, being uncommon is doing the things that the common man or woman choose not to do. And there's a whole community of people in Ascender that are uncommon. Come join us.
That's awesome. Come join us. Thank you, John.
You got it. Go get them.